What up, y'all? So it's your boy. We back, and listen, these two gentlemen, Steve Garcia and David Onama, are fighting this weekend. So, I'm already thinking ahead for some reason. It might be something I do every week now. I don't know. I'm gonna see what's next for these two gentlemen after they fight. After they fight, what would be next for both of these gentlemen moving forward? Starting with Steve Garcia, we're gonna go through his path and what his path will look like. And then we'll touch on David Onama. But I think Steve Garcia will win this one. He's the most likely one to win. So I've put together a banger path to the title for Steve Garcia. I'm not necessarily saying that he's gonna get there. I'm just saying, what would a path to the title look like for him if he were to get to the title? I don't personally think he's going to become a champion. Anything could happen, and he's very tough. It's just his fighting style is a little aggressive, and I think, I could see him getting clipped. Mahashate clipped him, KO'd him. You know what I mean? So I think that's the way he fights. He's a slugger. He wants to slug it out in the phone booth, and that works until you run into a Diego Lopez or or somebody with a precision to put you out. You know what I mean? So let's see what the path to the title looks like for Steve Garcia if he beats a David Onama this weekend. Yeah. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. All right, so listen, Steve Garcia, as we know, he's on a ridiculous win streak right now. So his last fight he beat Calvin Cater. Before that, he beat Kyle Nelson by KO first round. He KO'd Cho Sang Woo um, in 2024. So he had two fights in 2024. 2023, he KO's Miguel Melkazakiel Melkazakiel Melkazael Costa Mazikael Costa in round two in 2023. So he had one fight in 2023. In 2022, he KO'd Chase Super in the first round. He got KO'd by Mahashate. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's on a 5-fight win streak. So a win over David Onama would put him on a 6-fight win streak. So what would be next? I know that's a pretty long win streak, but I think that a Josh Emmett fight would be next. I'm gonna tell you why here in a minute. Listen, Josh Emmett, the guy is old, man. He's an old man. I think he's like 4-4. He's like 2-4 in his last 6. So if you see right here, Emmett, he beat Cater way back in 2022. He lost to Yair Rodriguez in 2023. He lost to Ilya in 2023. He beat Bryce in 2023. Oh, he had 3 fights that year. And in 2025, he came back and he lost to Murphy. And then he just recently lost to Zalal in October. So, I think it's time to get him up out of the division, to be honest. I think he's ranked. What is he ranked? He's ranked number 9 right now. So, yeah, I think it's time for Josh to go, man. And so I think this should be the first fight after the David Onama fight. If Steve Garcia gets to do that, and what a fight that would be, right? I mean, both guys love to slug it out. This would be insane. I'd be actually afraid for Steve Garcia in this fight, but I'd also be afraid for Josh Emmett. I think Steve Garcia though has the longer arms. Let me see. Actually, let me check that. Steve Garcia has a 75-inch reach, and Josh Emmett. What's he looking like? Josh Emmett. Where's your reach, bro? Fighter facts. Age, height. Okay, so he has a 70-inch reach. So yeah, Steve Garcia has a 5-inch reach advantage on Josh Emmett. Yeah, so this would be a banger though. Steve Garcia versus Josh Emmett. What a fight that would be. I think Steve Garcia would leave Josh Emmett sleeping though on the canvas, So on to the next. I think once he gets through Josh Emmett, the next one I think would be Yusuf Zalal. because if he beats Josh Emmett, then he's inside the top 10. So is Yusuf Zalal. I think that although Yusuf Zalal is someone they're trying to push probably too. So, but again, these would be two guys in the top 10 contenders. I think both of these guys would fight to see who can get to maybe get a top 5 opponent. And I think that top 5 opponent, we'll talk about him next. But Yusuf Zalal is on a run himself. He just beat Josh Emmett. So if Steve Garcia gets that win, then both will be coming off a win off of Josh Emmett. Yusuf Zalal will probably fight one more time before that happens, though. But let me see here. His win streak is looking like he has Calvin Kattar before Josh Emmett, and so Steve Garcia just beat Calvin Kattar. So these guys are on similar paths. Jack Shore, you know what I mean? So yeah, Yusuf Zalal is doing pretty good right now. I think if he's able to get through a Yusuf Zalal, then we're looking at a Diego Lopez. And we all obviously know Diego Lopez just taking out a Gene Silva. Great win, puts him right back into the mix. But I think if Steve Garcia is able to beat Josh Emmett and the Yusuf Zalal, that is going to warrant a top 5 guy for him. I thought about Yair Rodriguez, but hopefully Yair would be out of the top 5 by that time. So I think if he's able to get to a Diego Lopez, then he fights for the belt. That's only that would only make sense, to be honest with you. He might have to get a little bit more active, maybe fight. So he gets this fight now, maybe fight in January, and then fight again, summertime or something, or April or May, because if this path is to work out for him, he could be fighting for the belt next year, as soon as next year. If he beats David Onama now, beats Josh Emmett in January, beats Zalal in like May or like April, fights Diego October, then he could be positioned for the next title shot. So I think that is a good path for Steve Garcia. And that things could change. Obviously Diego could be fighting for the belt soon, or but I think there's a couple guys. I mean, Mazar is there and he's getting the next title shot, it looks like. You got guys like Lerone Murphy, and maybe they make Diego Lopez Lerone Murphy. I mean, we don't know, so we shall see. But that's the path that I have for Steve Garcia. If David Onama wins, which I don't think he will, but if he does, I mean, he's good, so he has a chance. What would his path look like? Let's look at David Onama for a second. So he beat Giga Chikadze in a 5-round decision victory. He before that he beat Roberto Romero, Jonathan Pierce. He had 2 fights in 2024. In 2023 he beat Gabriel Santos. So these guys would have to get more active here if they're gonna wanna. He beat Nate Landwehr, Nate the Train, and then Garrett Armfield. So that's actually a 5-fight win streak. He's on the same win streak as Steve Garcia. Actually, let's see 2021. Did he have so he lost to Mason Jones, Mason Jones is fucking good. So yeah, if he's able to get through Steve Garcia this weekend, then I think his path starts with this young man right here. Or not young. Get Brian Ortega the fuck out of the division. Flatline him. Brian Ortega, let's see. He lost to Aljo, lost to Diego Lopez. He beat Yair, which is crazy that Yair is still in the top. He lost to Volk, beat Korean Zombie. So, is this time to get Brian Ortega out of the top 10 period? It's crazy that he's still there. And so David Onama, that'd be his first fight. That would put him on a 7-fight win streak. I think then you give him a tough test in Arnold Allen. Arnold Allen seems to be fighting, to be stuck at that number 5 spot, and I don't know when he's gonna fight. It's kind of crazy that he hasn't fought since they've gone to London, to the UK actually, and he still hasn't fought. It's kind of crazy to me. Yeah, But I think that would be the next fight to make. Arnold Allen is obviously one of the best guys in the division. I don't think he would win this fight at all. But, you know, we're talking now you're in the top 5, buddy. You get past the Steve Garcia, you beat a Brian Ortega. Now you're looking at some higher levels of competition, you know what I mean? So it's not going to be easy, but this is the path, right? So I think Arnold Allen would be fitting after Brian Ortega. And then if he gets to Brian Ortega, or Arnold Allen and Brian Ortega, we're looking at Yair. Get Yair the fuck out of there, man. Get Yair out of there. I think that would be next, you know, for a David Onama. And then I think if he's able to get through Yair, I mean, who's ranked number 3, right? So they beat a top 10 guy in Brian Ortega. Boom, get him out of there. Beat a top 5 guy maybe at the 5th position or just outside 5 in Arnold Allen, and then you beat a guy inside the top 5 in a Yair, and then he'd be positioned to fight for a belt. I think that would put him on like a 9-fight win streak or something like that. This division has a lot of killers coming up right now, and I think these 2 guys are, you know, this is the path that would make, you know, and we would be exciting if they're able to get through those guys. I mean, if they're able to get through that path, they would have so much hype. It would be crazy, especially Steve Garcia, who's just knocking people out left and right? So it's gonna get harder though for Steve Garcia. You know, he couldn't knock out Calvin Kattar, but he did put a whipping on him. Calvin Kattar's tough, and I think that's why he survived. But yeah, this is the path for both gentlemen. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like, comment, share, subscribe, bell icon, all above. Until next time.